Hi everyone, and welcome back to Real Estate Unlocked, your go-to mini-series where we break down everything you need to know about buying and selling a home. In today's episode, we're diving into Section 8, Permitted Title Encumbrances in the Manitoba Offer to Purchase. This clause may sound very legal and a little intimidating at first, but once you understand it, you'll see that it plays a huge role in protecting buyers and keeping the transactions running smoothly for sellers. Let's break it down. So first things first, what does encumbrance actually mean? An encumbrance is anything registered on a property's title that affects ownership or the use of land. So this can be things like mortgages, liens, easements, zoning or use restrictions, or other legal claims against the property. Some encumbrances are completely normal and expected, while others might be removed before the property changes hands. That's exactly what Clause 8 is all about. So Part 1 of the clause is actually pretty straightforward. It states that an encumbrance registered against the title that is not listed as a permitted encumbrance must be discharged or satisfied by the seller. So in plain terms, if it's not allowed under Part 2, the seller has to clear it off before the property transfers to the buyer. This is key protection for buyers because it prevents you from inheriting someone else's debt or legal issues. So Part 2 outlines the permitted encumbrances. These are the items that are allowed to remain on title when the buyer takes possession. We're going to walk through them one by one. The first is an assumed mortgage. So any mortgage that the buyer agrees to assume as part of the purchase price is permitted to stay on title. The second is zoning or use restrictions. So zoning, development, or use restrictions are also permitted. These are municipal rules that apply to almost every property, and as long as the home complies with them, they'll remain. The third are public utility easements. So these are things like hydro lines, sewer lines, drainage, or telecommunications. These are all allowed, and they don't usually impact your day-to-day use of the property. Private easements, so such as a shared driveway. These are permitted as long as they are apparent during the inspection of the property. Seller's lien. So there can also be a temporary seller's lien for any unpaid portion of the purchase price, interest, or expenses. This is a standard protection mechanism, buyer-caused registrations. Anything registered on title because of the buyer, such as the buyer's new mortgage. So what about the seller's existing mortgage? Most sellers are still going to have a mortgage on their home when they sell, and that mortgage doesn't have to be removed before closing, as long as the seller's lawyer formally commits to discharging it after completion using the sale proceeds. Then, in that case, the transaction can still move forward safely. The final rule of this clause: any encumbrance that does not fall into one of these permitted categories must be removed by the seller before the deal completes. No surprises, no inherited debts. So while Clause 8 may sound a little technical, its purpose is actually really simple. For buyers, it ensures you receive the home you agreed to buy without unwanted claims or restrictions attached. And for sellers, it clearly outlines what needs to be dealt with so closing day goes smoothly. If you're buying or selling and you're unsure of what's registered on title, this is where your realtor and your lawyer are going to work closely together to protect you. That's it for today's episode of Real Estate Unlocked. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along as we continue breaking down the new Manitoba Offer to Purchase, section by section. We'll see you next week.